So students, we have learnt about that. We are learning about the what makes the Indian election democratic. How can we say Indian elections free and fair? So these are the 4 points which we are going to discuss in this video. The first one is talking about Independent Election Commission, which we have already discussed in the previous video. Mass level popular participation, acceptance of election result, and the last topic of this chapter, free and fair election. Now here, Independent Election Commission, when we talk about the Independent Election Commission, so here in India, elections are conducted by the independent and powerful autonomous election commission. Autonomous means we know that all the powers are there. Any decision can be taken by the election commission. Election commission has the autonomy to take any decision with regards the elections. The President of India appointing the Chief Election Commissioner, that is CEC, Chief Election Commissioner, and two other election commissioner for a 6 years of period. That is the tenure which they have, that is the 6 years of period. It enjoys the same kind of independence that the judiciary enjoys. I already told you that we have the independent judiciary, the same way we have the election commission as well. But once appointed, the election commission is not answerable to the president and the government. This is the very important factor, that once these all election commission representatives or the election commission is appointed, so these all people are not answerable, though they have selected by the president. They are not answerable to the president also, they are not answerable to the government, because it is an autonomous body, right? Even if the ruling party or the government does not like what commission does, it is impossible for them to remove the CEC. It means that Chief Election Commissioner, and what they need to obey, and they need to obey whatever the ideas or whatever the decisions are given by the election commission. So this is the Independent Election Commission which we have. Then functions of the election commissions in India. Now what are the functions, what are the role, we can say, that of the election commission? So number one, Election Commission takes decision on every aspect of conduct and control of election, from the announcement of election to the declaration of the results. Means from the announcement till the declaration of the results, each and every decision can be taken by the Election Commission, and they are watching very closely or keenly, we can say that, on the every movement of the political party and the election. It implements the code of conduct and punishes any candidate or party that violates it. Means we have already seen that the code of conduct being given by the election commission, and they are implementing it. Understood? And if suppose it is found that any of the candidate or any of the political party violates it, then they are punished. It can also order the government to follow some guidelines to prevent use and misuse of the governmental power to enhance its chance to win elections, or to transfer some governmental officials. So these are also important, that they can also give the order to the government to follow some guidelines. Means some guidelines also can be prepared by the election commission, and it could be given to the government also to follow. For what? To prevent use and misuse of the governmental power. It is happening that many a time, suppose election commission cannot give certain guidelines to the ruling party. So what will happen? They can misuse their power, and they can again come to the power. So that is why election commission all the time provides the guidelines. When on the election duty, government officers work under the control of the election commission and not the government. So if you are knowing that many of the government servants are getting the duties during the election times as election duty. So that time they are not the servants of the government government, but they are the servants of they are under the control of the election commission. So that election commission will take all the decisions, which duty to be given to whom, and what will be their role. So to give number fifth, to give an advice to the president on some certain issues. Also, election commission can proceed. I mean, election commission also can give the advice to the president also on certain matters, certain issues. Now, massive, if you can say that, the mass level popular participation of the people. Now here you can find that the massive participation of the people is there in the election process. So people participation in election is usually measured by the voter turnout figure. Turnout indicates the percentage of the eligible voters who actually cast their vote, means how many eligible people are there. And so that can form or comprise the turnout. In the last 50 years, the turnout in Europe and North America has declined. In India, if you can check that, in India, the turnout has either remained stable or actually gone up, but it is never decline, we can say that, up till now, if you can change. In India, illiterate, poor and unprivileged people are there, those who vote in a larger portion as compared to rich and the privileged section. This is the fact of a country like India, we can say that, where many poor and the underprivileged people, illiterate people can give the vote rather than the rich and the privileged section of the country. So this is a contrast to compare with the Western countries which is available, we can say that. In USA, the poor, Afro-Americans and the Hispanics vote much less than the rich and the white people. So this is the fact which is available. Then common people in India attach a lot of importance to elections. Rather than, we can say that, many a times it is happening due to the political leaders, the people are fighting among them, and then after that the political leaders are they are becoming friends, but here the common people are always the enemy of each other due to it. So common people in India attach a lot to the importance, of elections. They feel that through elections they can bring pressure on the political parties to adopt policies and programs favorable to them. They also feel that their vote matters in the way things are run in the country. Many a times that these all common people will try their level best to create the pressure on the government. Second, the interest of the voters in election related activities has been increasing over the years. In 2004 elections, more than 1/3 voters took part in campaign related activities. More than half of the people identified themselves as being close to one or the other political party. 1 out of every 7 voter is a member of a political party. So here we come to know that major people are related with the election, understood, or the political party. So massive participation here, it is visible of the people for the election or the election related things. Acceptance of the election outcomes. Acceptance of the election outcomes or the results also, we can say here, right? Now, if the election are not free, if the elections are not free and fair, the outcome always favors the powerful, right? So in such situation, ruling parties do not lose elections, and losing party does not accept the outcomes of a rigged election. So the outcomes of the India's election speaks it itself. Now, what are those points? Number one, the ruling parties routinely lose elections in India, both at national and the state level. If you remember that, the story of the Haryana, once again, I will remind you that the ruling party that was in the 1987, that was Congress. But after the election of 1987, we could find that the ruling party lose the election and then the opposition party got a chance. But again, when then in 1991, when the election took place, that time Devilal's Lokdal got the lose the election, and Congress again won the election. So in this way, we can say that ruling parties routinely lose the elections in India, both at the national as well as in the state level. Many times it can also happen that government can also get a chance, like Congress and the other BJP also, right? At present, we have seen that the 2 terms they have got. So accordingly, it can happen also sometimes. But many a times it is also happening that the ruling parties lose the elections in India. Every 2 out of 3 elections held in the last 15 years, if you can check, so the ruling party lost. In USA, if you take the example of the USA, and incumbent or the sitting elected representatives rarely loses an elections. Rarely they lose the election. In India, about half of the sitting MP and MLAs lose the election. So if these are the contrast ideas which we can find over here. In the USA, rarely the elected representatives loses an election, but in India, the sitting or the present MPs or the MLAs, all the time we can say that lose the elections. Candidates who are known to have spent a lot of money on buying votes and those with criminal connections often lose elections. This is also a drawback. We can say that when the people are, or the candidates are criminals, so definitely they will not get the support of the people and hence they will lose the elections. Free and fair election. Here we can say that in India, Indian elections are basically free and fair. We have discussed so far about these free and fair elections up till now. The party that wins an election and form the government, but in some constituencies, a few candidates may win purely on the basis of money, power, and unfair means. There are so many of the unfair means can be used by the political parties to win the elections, but the overall verdict of of a general election still reflects popular references. However, many limitations and the challenges in Indian elections for to conduct free and fair elections in India we have seen. In our country, free and fair elections are conducted. That is different part, that somewhere we can say that some dirty tricks are being played, but that are very minimal, we can say that. But if you can check about the in a major part of the elections, so we can find that the free and fair elections are taking place in our country. Now, what are the challenges? As I told you that there are some of the parts or some of the dirty tricks which are played for the free and fair elections, which we can say that understood, which we due to which we cannot say that. But what are the challenges here we are going to look into. Candidates and the parties with a lot of money may not be sure of their victory, correct? Though they spend, but they are not sure whether the people will give them vote after getting money or not. But they do enjoy a big and unfair advantages over smaller parties and independence. In some parts of the country, candidates with criminal connections have been able to push others out of the electoral race and to secure the tickets from the major parties. It is happening that the candidate themselves with a criminal background, we can say that they are putting up the pressure on the political party and getting the ticket. Some families are there, those who dominate the political parties all the time and gives the tickets only to their relatives or to their family members are also visible, and you are well aware maybe of it. Very often elections offer little choices to ordinary citizens. It's rarely happening that any of the ordinary citizen has got a ticket and contests the elections for both the major parties or quite similar to each other both in the policies and the practice also. Smaller parties and the independent candidates suffer a huge disadvantage compared to a bigger parties, because smaller parties cannot we can say that they spend larger amount which is generally required for today's elections, right? So these are all the challenges for the free and fair elections in India. Thank you. So here we are completing the chapter. Thank you.